Hi there, welcome to Floating in Books. Today I'm going to be showing you all of my coloring supplies that I like to use to create all of my pages. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. I've been doing coloring since February and I've gathered quite a collection of tools and materials by now to be able to create all of the different pages I'm doing. I didn't do a whole lot of coloring over the summertime, but I'm feeling now that we're heading into fall and the weather is starting to turn and there's more space for me to just like chill at home and not do too much. I feel like I'm really going to be back on the coloring train really soon. And I just thought to get back into the swing of things, I could show you what markers I'm using, how I store things and stuff, because I have definitely changed a couple of things around since I last spoke to you about coloring. So let me show you what it is I've got going on. So first things first, this is what I see when I sit at my desk. I actually sit at my kitchen table. I'm very boring. And this is sort of what I'm looking at right now. I have my plug here from the light that I have so that if I color at night, I can very easily do it. That's actually a light that I bought for other content creation, but it can only hold a phone. And I don't really use my phone a lot, like in this thing, but it does make for a good extra light to have more like daylight so I can really see the colors. So let me move it out of the way just a little bit so you can see what I've got going on in terms of my coloring surprise. So this is my main set of markers. These organizers are Deco Time, and that is what I have most of the markers. They start here, right here, and they go all the way down there. So Deco Time is available from Action here in the Netherlands, and that's actually where I've picked up most of my coloring supplies. I have the Ohuhu pastel and skin tone set up here, and there's 5 Copic markers right here that I picked up when I was in Japan. And then right at the top, I have some paint markers by Pandora, which are very similar to the Poshka markers actually. So those I like to do to like block out lines or to use as accents, etc., etc. So that's sort of like the main thing. I now have tried all 3 of those markers a little bit over the past couple of weeks, and I have just found that I do really enjoy the Deco Time markers. So I don't think I will be buying a full set of Ohuhu markers just yet. I was thinking that if I did this for like a year, I could treat myself and get like the full 320 Ohuhu set at some point when those are in stock again. But I'm really liking my Deco Time markers. These are super juicy. They are really easy to work with. They have this triangular shape for most of them, which I think is really easy to hold. And because they are so juicy, they are great for bigger patches. I find with the Copic ones that I really like the colors of them, but they feel quite dry. So I find they go a little bit patchy when I try to do bigger areas. The Ohuhus are sort of like a middle ground between the two. Those aren't overly juicy, but they aren't overly dry either. The only downside with the Deco Time markers is that the tips can start to fray quite easily and they run out really easily as well. And these tips aren't removable. With the Copics and also the Ohuhus, you can buy either singles or refills. With the Ohuhu and the Copic markers, I know you can turn the tip around as well. So the Deco Time ones are cheap. They are very cheap and cheerful. This is a conglomeration of several sets though, and a lot of things that I actually picked up through Vinted as well, because that's another downside to the Deco Time ones. They only sell them as sets. So that's a bit of a shame. So you do probably have to go through buying several sets before you have what I have. I think from the complete, I think they have 320 shades as well, and I'm missing like 4 or 5 shades of the full set. Some of the grays I'm mainly missing, and there's like 1 red or something, and 1 of the neon shades. So there's 4 shades that I know I'm missing. But those aren't like super important. So that's it. And the reason why I got the Ohuhu pastel set and the skin tone set is, I'm not sure if you can see here if I focus on the Deco Time ones. This is pretty much all the browns you get, and you use a lot of browns when you're doing coloring. So I felt I needed to expand it a little bit more. That's why I got the skin tone set, and it has a lot of vibrant colors. but not a lot of pastel colors. So that's why I got the pastel set as well, and I just got a couple of the brown Copic markers again, because I was just feeling I was missing a couple of shades. And the organizers, when you do buy Deco Time markers, they come with organizers that can click together in different configurations. So that's really helpful. So those are the main markers I'm using. That's my, the little fluffy thing up top is the microphone that's recording my audio. Then if I pan down, I have my like jelly roll pen. I already used up a white jelly roll pen. And then I have my black pen here. I have a charcoal pencil, and I have a makeup brush here that I like to use to sort of blur out this charcoal pencil. I use a little protector to protect my table, because this is just my kitchen table. And I also like to use Q-tips to diffuse the charcoal. And then I have my swatch cards here from Ohuhu. And then I always have a spare piece of paper so I can do a little bit of swatching just to test out some color stories and stuff. But I tend to use the swatch cards, and another thing I like about the Deco Time ones is that you can print this list off of their website, and then you can tick off the ones that you have and do the swatches. So this has been really helpful in finding like what colors I want to put together. And then this has been the protector that I've been using. This is from Japan. I picked it up at Loft. It's been doing me pretty well, but I'm actually thinking that because it's plastic, once this like becomes wet again, that some of the ink will lift from this plastic onto the page. So I'm gonna have to see how that goes. In here, so I have all these different gray containers that I keep all of my like acrylic markers and like the fun things that add the texture. So let me show you what I mean by that. So a page like this is one of the final pages I did. You can see that it has a lot of texture. And so what I've been doing is sometimes I do this with alcohol markers as well, but I like using different pens to highlight things and to do accents and do all of that. So I have this bin of pen. These are all like fine liners and stuff. I also have some brush tip things. The ones at the bottom, which you can't really see because the ones at the top I'm now using the most. The ones at the bottom were a set I got from Action that comes with heaps of different shades. But that was really missing a couple of good browns and greens, so I ended up investing in some different pens. And these have been my favorite. These are by Click Art. I picked them up from Otoya in Ginza in Tokyo, actually, when I was in Japan, and these have been really, really good. They click up like a regular pen, but then it's actually a bit like a marker, actually. They're very interesting. So I don't know how this is going to go down over time, but so far they have been doing really good. Then in the back here, I have some, these are metallic ones, I believe. Yeah, this is like some sets of metallic markers that I have. These are glitter markers that I have. These are some more paint markers, but these are pretty, they're just not as opaque as the Pandora ones. So these are very thin and can be quite watery, especially the lighter shades, so I don't tend to use these a whole lot. Then I have some acrylic markers in here and in here, and these are also all from Action. I love those, and these are really great. These are actually made to like do dotting on ceramics and stuff, but I really like the dotted side for, like these are all, like these were 4 different packs, and some of them are metallic and whatnot. But these are great because I like adding dots to a lot of my pages, and this has been really good for that. And I really like the shape selection of this set that I have over here. Then down here, I have another set of acrylic markers, and then I have some gel pens down here, which is brighter colors. So this is more like a rainbow thing. So that's my main sort of tools that I'm using whenever I'm doing my coloring. So like I said, most of it is from Action. So those are all of the supplies that I use to color. I actually have some spare sets of like Deco Time markers so that when some of these colors run out, I can very easily like take the one out that is that I've used up and then like rope in the next one. That's why I keep spare ones on hand, you could say. But yeah, everything here, all of the acrylic markers, these are from Heima. And then some of the pens that were on top with the fine liners are from Japan, but everything else is from Action, so everything is super cheap and cheerful. I actually, whenever I go to Action, I see what they have new in, and sometimes they do interesting things. Like the last time I was there, they did all of these like glitter markers, which are super fun. And these actually come in pretty good shades as well, because very often I find that, like for instance, a lot of acrylic markers, they come in really bright shades, but they don't come in like murky things and stuff. And this actually also came with like some brown things and some like more muted things. So I actually think that this is going to be a pretty successful set as well. They do have glitter in. I don't always want my accents to have glitter in though, so that's a bit of a shame. But those I believe are water-based. In here with the metallics, like I said, this is several sets. So I had a set that had these sort of like pen things in, but then I also had some sets that had these things in. So those are also murkier shades. And some of those shade numbers, because they're also deco time, correspond to the shades in the deco time set. So if I'm using a certain shade of green and I also have it in those other markers, I can very easily mix and match, which is what I like. I believe the paint markers are not by deco time, but they are by avec, I believe they're called. And that's what I also got the fine liners from. Like I said, these are okay, but for instance, a light pastel yellow like this, if you're trying to use it to blot out any black lines in your coloring, it's not going to work. It's too watery. Like you can see here on my swatch pages that some of these paint markers, like that's why I have this extra sheet of paper, so it can press, like I can get the color out first so it's not so messy once it goes onto the page. And I'm almost forgetting, but I have some like pencil cases here as well where I keep sort of like a pencil and like something to draw lines with and like a gray pencil just in case. So just a couple of other bits to help out. And then I have another one that has all of my colored pencils in. So I believe this was also from Avec, and this just has a bunch of different colored pencils in, including a white. These are okay if you want to soften something, but these aren't great for like fluffing them up like these charcoal pencils are. So if you want to create some sort of like glowy effect on things, I've been really enjoying charcoal pencils for that. So that's it. Those are all of the bits that I have. Is there anything I'm missing? No. You've seen my card already. I put that in a different video that I can link down below because I showed you that when I talked to you about all of the coloring books I have. So I have this little rolling cart from IKEA that I keep everything in. The bottom drawer is for all of the extra pens. I have all of my coloring books in the middle section. And then I put the big guy with all of the alcohol markers in up on top if I want to clear this away. So if I actually want to use my kitchen as a kitchen, then I can. So that's been the coloring setup that I have for you guys. So yeah, thank you so very much for joining me here today. Thumbs up this video if you liked it. And then I really hoped you would like to stay tuned for more because I hope you will be... And then I hope you would like to stay tuned for more because I will be back with a new video very, very soon. See you next week. Bye-bye.